So I'm standing at the base of a volcano in the middle of Africa, and it's 5 a.m. And I'm with 5 of my friends and a guide named Eugene. And we are about to go hiking up to the top of that volcano to go in search of a family of wild mountain gorillas. And Eugene is giving us the ins and outs and do's and don'ts of mountain gorilla trekking. And he tells us that the first thing you need to know is that every mountain gorilla family is named after the king. And our king's name is Gugubita, which translates to mean beat. But he says, don't worry, he doesn't beat his visitors, he beats his chest. So I was like, okay. And he said, listen, here's the rules. If Gugubita charges, you don't run. And he makes us all repeat, do not run, several times to drill it in. So he says, what you have to do is drop to your knees, look down, don't look at him, show him that you mean no harm and you respect him as the king. And then he teaches us some gorilla language, and it sounds something like, and that roughly translates to mean, I mean no harm. So we were practicing that and dropping to our knees before we went up. And he said, when we get up there, we're going to come across some rangers. And the rangers have spent their life, part of their life, living on the side of this volcano for months at a time. They leave their families and they sleep up there and live up there in order to protect the gorillas, because 25 years ago, there were only 400 mountain gorillas left on Earth. And these people have dedicated themselves to protecting them from mostly poachers. So the poachers will go up there and they'll kill them. They take their hands and their feet and their heads and they sell them for souvenirs. And they eat the meat and they steal the babies and sell them on the black market. So Eugene gets his rifle and he gets his machete and he starts chopping through the jungle, and we start following. And about 2 hours up, he stops me, and I'm right behind him because I can't wait to get up there. And he says, shh, look. And I look over, and about 30 feet away from me is this beautiful little wrinkled black face surrounded by green. And I lock eyes with her, and they're the color of amber. And they're so calm and wise, and it's like she knows things that humans just are too dumb to know. And I just burst into tears. I don't know what it was, but something about her gaze and connecting made me cry. And she held my gaze and she moved the bush and she showed me a little baby clinging to her chest. And I couldn't stop crying. And then she backed away and disappeared into the green. And I said to Eugene, what kind of a monster, an evil monster, would kill her and take that baby? And Eugene just shook his head and turned and kept hiking. So we go another maybe 20 minutes and we see the rangers, and they're 4 really, men and women dressed in army fatigues, heavily armed. And they take all of our belongings because you can't go in with anything except a silenced cell phone or a camera. And they pile them all up and they lead us in. And Gugubita is maybe 60 yards away and he's lying on the ground, and he literally will just reach up and grab a tree and go and eat it. And it's like, oh my God. And up above us, the gorillas have woven together the branches of bamboo trees, and every time they move, we get showered with twigs and leaves, and sometimes they pee, and we jump out of the way, and this pee just comes, and it was like they were mocking us, like, hey, get the one over there. She looks like she's slow, and it would pee, and we would jump. It was hysterical. So Gugubita now yawns, and his teeth and his tongue are stained black, and he stands up, and he's about 6'1", he must weigh 600 pounds, and he looks at us and he just goes, hurrah! And he starts beating his chest and he rushes right at me, and I'm like, don't run, and I drop to my knees and I close my eyes and I wait to die. And I can hear his feet pounding on the ground, and I can hear him just breaking trees as he runs, and then it's just silence. And all I hear is, And I hear Eugene say, and then Gugubita says, and Eugene says, you can look at him now. And I look up, and an arm's length from me is this giant creature. And every time he breathes, the mist comes out of his nose, and his fur is shiny and black except for this gray streak across the top. And I just want to reach out and touch him because I kind of fell in love with him just a little. I did. And he leads us through this tunnel, and we see his family, and his whole family is playing, and the kids are swinging around, and they bump into you. And it's the most magical, transcendental hour I've ever spent in my life. And I looked at Eugene, and I said, what kind of a lunatic would try to come in here and hurt one of these gorillas? You'd have to be crazy. And Eugene said to me, the king has power. Do you know what power is? Power is not oppressive, and it's not submissive. The king can display his power, but because it's respected, he doesn't need to use it. The poachers have no power, so they're forced to kill to feed their children. You would too, if you had to feed your child. And he said, do you see the rangers? They're heroes, yes? I said, yes. He said, because of them, there's now over 1,000 gorillas on Earth. They're heroes. And every one of them was once a poacher. But they were hired to now protect the thing they once were forced to kill. And the only way we will ever grow as human beings is when we realize there's as much to learn from a killer as there is from the king.